All right. Interesting. I got a message out there. Fantastic. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Mic Drop Live. This is going to be a completely experimental beta test for the mic drop going forward. Um, as I promised in previous videos, I'm going to try and find a scheduled time each and every day to come on here, maybe for about a half hour, and nothing more. If I can do it every day, then I think no more than a half hour would be great. If some of the discussions open up into deeper discussions and start to really roll, I'm going to take my hands off of it. I'm going to take my hands off the control button on that, because the whole point of this is to encourage the conversation between the community members that have been traumatized by Middlebury Community Schools, me being one of them. My goal is also to kind of make myself redundant so that I'm not the one that has to be in front with the megaphone all the time, even though I have no problem doing that. I want to encourage others to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, with or without a megaphone, and be able to say what they want to say. So to that end, that's why we're trying this in a different capacity. That's live. And so one of the things I'm going to be working on, obviously, is I just so you guys know, this is the month anniversary of the mic drop. Okay. So this has officially been 30 days. In that 30-day time, there have been over 200 subscribers and tens of thousands of hours worth of video that has been watched. I am very thankful that the math supports the need for this conversation. If you guys want data, which I know Middlebury Entitlement Schools is all about controlling people through their data, that's a data point. And my analytics are public view. You can watch them whenever you want. But the purposes of trying today is to see, in the environment of live, what it looks like. So it's been going on for a couple minutes. I put kind of like a blanket statement out there that's like, welcome. And, remember, we do the zero tolerance. I'm going to describe that a little bit more so that people understand that there's no limitations to your truth. There's limitations to the discussion about your truth. And it's a very, very clear distinction in my mind that I want to get across to you guys so that you know what I'm talking about. Okay. While I am doing this, I will be moderating the channel live and making sure that whomever comes on and wants to share their truth has the ability to do so. Okay. Now, if you've been watching up to this point, how you choose to share your truth is going to be important if you're going to use the mic drop as an outlet in order to do so. I have rules, and the rules are in place to make sure that nobody feels bullied, marginalized, less than human, or anything bad whatsoever for choosing to share their truth. Now, on the opposite end of that, if someone were to come on with nefarious purposes and try to destroy the mic drop by bombing it with a bunch of negativity and all that stuff too, I will block you so fast you'll be out of YouTube mid-sentence, because there are children that may be watching this. And I don't really care what you have to say to me. I can take it. I'm a grown man. But I'm not going to have my channel opened up for you to bully others. And I am in control of that, and I will stay in control of that. Okay? So that's what I mean by you are welcome to share your truth. And once your truth is shared, everybody's live here. Okay? So it's public. This is your choice. There's no restrictions really, other than how you treat others. And that's something that I will continue to maintain. The reason why I'm doing this now as opposed to tomorrow is because tomorrow I'm going to try to start doing this routinely. And I've looked through my schedule, and I've looked through a lot of the things that I have coming up, and it makes sense for me, given the job that I'm going to go into, given the extracurriculars that I have, the support a lot of the time that I do after schools. Probably sometime in the evening would be my best guess. And if I had to pick a time, I'm going to try to, I've always liked to operate out of the family man mentality. So I picture, you guys getting off of work and coming home and getting dinner and the fam and all this stuff. You got to do what you got to do. And then once everybody's kind of taken care of with that, you kind of have your moments to kind of relax and chill and do you. That's the time frame in which I'm going to add mic drops, is a time live anyway, where the most people have the ability to do them. Okay. Now I've got tons and tons of students and former graduates that work second shift and third shift jobs. They're not going to be able to make it to that evening time. And I get that. That also, and I also have a plan for that as well. There will be some times that I will not be adhering to the same schedule very, very purposefully, so that the other people that aren't able to be live have an opportunity to be live. And you'll notice that this is a little bit different than the Middlebury Entitlement Schools saga version of how they like to incorporate their truth. They tell you it's 4 to 5 o'clock. Yours is 4.0. You only have 3 minutes to speak. And if we don't like what you have to say, we'll interrupt you until you can't hear anything, right? That's not how this is going to be. I want people to feel as courageous to share their truth as a former disgruntled employee who can stand on a private driveway advocating for dozens and dozens of people that don't have a voice. So I would want to try to empower you guys to do that amongst yourselves. And I'm going to share a story with you to kind of filter through that a little bit, because some of you guys are thinking, really? Can we do that? This is a personal story of mine, and it's also a personal story to one of my former graduates by the name of Bridget. And Bridget, if you're watching, this is a heart. Thankfully, in my experience, I've been able to witness a few things that I call miraculous. And what I had witnessed after her older brother, Gabe Bowers, tragically died in a car crash during the school year, we were on call immediately to be there for the children in their grieving, which is, everybody should be, What I noticed, though, was the difference in between who was there, why they were there, and what they chose to do. So for those first couple of days, I made my presence 100% known all the time for it. Anytime a kid wants to come up and talk. And I went into the kind of the grieving room where the kids needed to kind of step away a little bit because they're having a hard time processing through it. And I thought maybe I would be leading discussions. I thought maybe I would try to help process through some of that stuff. And I'll tell you, I witnessed something miraculous. The way that the students themselves were able to counsel each other, share their grief, not even have, psychological training and answers on how to process through it, just the shared experience of it did more to heal the hearts of some of those kids than any one-on-one counselor meeting with me ever would have done. And that's not to say that, my abilities are, less or, minuscule in any way, shape, or form. I mean, the power of the human heart, when it's not corrupt, has the ability to heal other people's hearts far more than any type of modern psychology ever will. And that's if you choose to connect, usually either compassionately or empathetically or sympathetically with someone else other than yourself. When you connect with someone else's plight, someone else's story, trauma, anything. What I witnessed more over that week than I noticed anywhere else was the kids were, they were taking care of each other in a way that they didn't even know they were doing. And I was there kind of redundantly, just kind of nodding and kind of, I don't know, watching over it, saying like, hey, you guys are good. Yeah, make another poster for Gabe. Let's do it. Yeah, let's get in a circle and let's talk about it. And you know what? If anybody needs to step away and do a one-on-one thing because it gets overwhelming, I'm here. It was great. It was miraculous. So one of the things I'm going to hope that kind of has on here. Thank you, American Andy. We're going to be limiting curse words on here, so I appreciate that this is a truthful venture. But again, like I said, there could be children watching, and while I do respect your truth, I'm going to ask that we try to keep it as maybe still as school appropriate as we possibly can. But here's the difference. Jessica Brewer and I had a way. No, you're good, man. Jessica Brewer and I had a way of exchanging or censoring certain words and still convey the same meaning without actually saying the word. She changed it to fluff. Everybody has their own different versions of it. In fact, my aunt, I love her to death. Growing up, her children would not say the word fart because they thought it was a little bit inappropriate or risque. So they changed it to poofer, which to me is the cutest thing in the world. Like, oh my God, I poofered. And you have a little 3-year-old girl running away giggling because she poofered. That to me means a little bit more than the conveyance of, like the strong curse word. Me, I'm a censorer. I've been a DJ corn dog white chocolate for too long so that I can flip in and out of actually saying, certain words seamlessly without anybody having to think about it. And if you think about it in that context, then you're going to have people that are going to read your lips and you go, did he just say what I think he did? Maybe. They didn't say. So you're cool, Andy. What I would like this to do is to hopefully encourage conversation amongst those of us that have been traumatized by Middlebury Community Schools. And not to the extent that we would be here trying to process trauma. That's not what this is about. That is for licensed therapy. That is for, I myself went through a good 15 months of just intense therapy on myself, trying to repair my psyche, trying to restore my self-confidence, trying to remember who it is that I am at my core. And it takes really, really, really hard work to do that. But it's extremely worth it. And I wouldn't have gone through it I wouldn't be able to do this if I hadn't gone through it in the way that I was led to go through. So what I'm going to try to encourage is that when you guys are on here and someone shares a truth, if you guys are on here and you're watching and that truth resonates with you, like when I heard about what happened to John Homan and his story and his truth resonated with me from what happened with me. If you feel that happening with you while you guys are, while people are sharing stories, say something. You have no idea how powerful when someone has the courage enough to come out here and share their truth, to have someone go, oh man, I hear you. Like that was like that for me too. So many of you guys have felt so alone in this for so long because you've been told to keep it quiet. You've been gaslighted into thinking that it's only your problem and nobody else's. They did that to me for years. So I'm going to try to provide a safe place to share truth that is the opposite of all that. And it's going to be encouraging and it's going to be affirming. And even if you're, and I'll tell you flat out too, if someone wants to come onto the mic drop right now and share their truth about how they feel that this is going, I've had plenty of naysayers come and say they don't like the way I'm doing it. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not doing this to be liked. I'm doing this because it needs to be done. And the truth needs to be shared and people need to feel like they can without repercussion. So for as long as I draw breath, I'm going to continue to do it in that way. And I wanted to give you guys this kind of like intro video on Sunday before I started, kind of full time next week, just so that you guys, if you want to follow along, you can. Now, I'm still learning the ins and outs of trying to create a scheduled podcast, but the media that I've chosen, I'm going to do it through YouTube. I kind of had a Twitch stream that I was thinking about for a little bit, and I love Twitch. Twitch is more of my gamer community. And, my brother hangs out on there and I hang out on there with him and watch people that are doing games. So it's kind of a separate thing in my mind. YouTube for me made a lot more sense just because it's in the name, yo. It is YouTube. Welcome to the mic drop. It kind of goes hand in hand. And for as long as it continues to work out this way, it's going to. Now, I also have a few plans to kind of increase the way that this is actually going to go. So it's a little bit less like you're in a car ride bouncing all over the place. I bought a month ago, I bought a $35 webcam off of Amazon. And that's what started the mic drop. After a month of seeing how this is going to potentially grow, I'm going to invest in the mic drop a little bit more. I'm going to look into getting some better equipment, and I'm going to look to have a setup that's a little less. I like the armchair for sure, but maybe a little less armchair and a little bit more like welcome to a podcast. And if that works, great. If it doesn't and people like the armchair thing, great. I'm as flexible as they come. So these are some of the ideas that I've kind of had in my mind. American Andy would like to ask, what do I think about Mrs. Engel, the lady that pushed John Homan to do what he did? I am unfamiliar with that particular portion of it, Andy. I'll be completely honest. I didn't work at the middle school. I only worked at the high school. And by the time what had happened to John had already happened, I was far removed from what was going on there because I was in the midst of my own toxicity, drowning in it. If you have things that you would like to say regarding, how you feel Mrs. Engel treated John Homan, that's great. I haven't heard it yet. You are welcome to share it, and we're welcome to discuss it. And there will be differences of opinions that come in and different perspectives, and that's okay. Everybody's entitled to share their truth here. Bad lady treated students terribly. Is she Miss? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna try this one. Golubuski? Did I get even close? Okay, so why don't you guys, since we have a couple of people here, if you guys want to tell me, I'll listen and I'll help to facilitate a little bit about what you heard. Apparently, we're getting a truth right now from some of the people that are watching the mic drop regarding a particular teacher. Couple of students are talking about Mrs. Engel being a pretty bad teacher from their perspective. And it sounds like from Andy that Mrs. Engel was maybe someone mentioned was Mrs. Engel one of the ones that was mentioned in Mr. Homan's suicide note email to the middle school? Do you know that? Because I didn't get a chance to see it or read it. I just knew it was being circulated. Okay. Got you. Okay, cool. Well, and I'm open to that discussion. And the good news is, this is exactly kind of how I want it to be every single time that I come on here and do this. I'm going to start the mic drop. I'm going to say, welcome to the mic drop. We're going to share truth today. And for those of you guys that want to join me, come on in and share your truth. If no one comes with a truth that they want to share, I will always have a topic that we're going to be talking about. Like today's topic was, here's what the mic drop may look like. And I know that on Monday it's going to be the start of something more routine, a little bit more kind of an official. You'll know what to expect, which is for me good because I've been thinking a lot about how to do it and how to do it well. So please, I would encourage you guys, please keep coming and please keep sharing your stuff like that because I'm going to facilitate these conversations and hopefully grow them. And then what could explode with this in this discussion is, say we have a mic drop one day and it's like, welcome to August 18th, 2023, the mic drop that will live in infamy. And if that's a huge mic drop and tons of people are pouring in and tons of people are commenting, I will probably either extend it a little bit for as long as I can, allow and make happen, but I'll also plan to do follow-ups. So if at the end of one mic drop, I got to cut it short and we're having a great discussion, I'm going to immediately open it right back up the next day. Some of you guys are going to be able to make it. Some of you guys are not going to be able to make it the next day, and that's fine. Here's the good news. I'm a facilitator of communication. If you're not able to be present at the mic drop and you want to email me, if you want to reach out to me, stories and stuff that you want to share on the mic drop, I will do that for you. I've already started recording a couple of mic drop videos for individual former graduates themselves. And they're waiting in my archive right now to be shared whenever they give the green light. And I offered to do that for as long as I have the free time to be able to do so. I will take your story and try to advocate for it in the best way that I can. And I will give it my best effort every single time because that's how much it means to me. I'm not getting paid for any of this. I don't have advertisement funding from YouTube or anything. This is nothing other than just free time. And something I'm calling pro bono advocacy. Because when you're a counselor, you get the terrible, terrible privilege of hearing some of the things that are the worst things to happen to people in this world. And if you have a heart like mine, you want to jump in and you want to fight for it. You want to defend it. You want to advocate for it. Some of us were born that way. Some of us were broken into that way. A lot of the counselors that you meet out there, a lot of the people that are going to try to help you process through your emotions Majority of them have been through some tough in their life. You know what I mean? So they are choosing out of their own brokenness to go and help others who may be broken in a similar way so that they don't have to feel as alone or bad. Okay, so we have another comment here. The 7th grade math teacher, Mr. Payne, might be on methamphetamines at any given time. Interesting to know. Thank you for sharing that. Officer Schatz, Middlebury Community Schools Chief of Police. If you feel that it is credible, well, I don't know if I should say that because they put a trespass on me for no reason. So maybe the Middlebury Community School Police Department is not the person to direct that to. So there's a methamphetamine to go in. Okay. So apparently the 7th grade class of Mr. Payne really needs to be taken a look at, and whether or not he may be on drugs. Okay. So here, and let me facilitate this a little bit, because what you have right here are you have genuine concerns from people of the community that have either been a part of the class, have been in the class, or know the man who teaches the class, sharing their personal truth about what they believe could be going on with this person. And the reason why this is important is not to air out people's dirty laundry. The reason why this is important is not to make fun or make light of anybody's individual situations about what's going on. What this is supposed to do is it's supposed to expose the corruption that would be preventing someone like Mr. Payne, if he was on meth, getting the help that he needs. And the community school board said that there are a wealth of mental health opportunities that Mr. Homan could have taken advantage of, and yada, yada, yada. Look at me, y'all. I took advantage of every single mental health opportunity that Middlebury Community Schools offered during the 8 years I was there, and none of it was enough to prevent me from having my own suicidal ideation. I'm not lying about that. It scared the living daylights out of me. It's why the minute I felt it, I stopped being a counselor, and I said, I'm going into recovery, and I'm not coming back out until I don't feel that way anymore. Guess what? Good news. I don't feel that way anymore. So the processing worked. But if this is going to raise some genuine concerns that people have that are immediate right now. So, I mean, take this mic drop and maybe put it back in February of this year. And say we're not talking about Mr. Payne right now. Say we're talking about Mr. Homan and he's still alive. You know, if someone's going to come on here and say something like, you know, I see Mr. Homan getting bullied by the other teachers, or I see, you know, Mr. Payne actually doing meth, you know, somewhere. Like these are things that if they're actually going on, they need to be brought into the light. The great news about the mic drop is nobody's making any type of accusation. They're sharing their truth. They're not saying it is true. They're saying, look into it. Like I did when I showed up at the board meeting on April about Mr. Homan. Take this seriously was the only thing that I ended up saying to the school board. And a lot of people kind of asked what I said during that school board meeting. If you haven't had an opportunity to listen to it yet, I think Pam Kaiser may have recorded it and it's out there. But for the 3 minutes that I spoke, all I said was how my story personally resonated with what happened with John Homan, and that you guys aren't doing a good enough job to take it seriously to prevent stuff like this from happening, because it happened to me for years. So please take it seriously. And here's how you know you've actually struck a nerve and you've actually hit the truth, is when they start to cancel you. If you reach out to a corrupt establishment and you want to discuss your truth and they start to cancel you instead of listen to you, good indication you're onto something. And Middlebury Community Schools hasn't done the best job of responding to a lot of these crises, not in the public's eyes anyway. And from what I've heard from other peoples in Middlebury community, the trust that has been invested in Middlebury Community Schools up to this point has been irrevocably shaken. And while the community school board continues to say, like, we're not going to make a comment, blah, 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 that would be inappropriate, that is literally translating as, we recognize that there's corruption going on in the school systems, and because we don't want to change it, we're going to silence anybody that would bring it to our attention. Thank you for coming. Have a great day. It doesn't really sound that it's okay. Andy, you're good, bro. This is the reason why I did this today. This is the reason why I wanted a beta kind of test, was so that when these start to go in the future, we can make corrections along the way. And let me tell you this too. I'm going to try to make this the safest place that I possibly can for you guys to share every part of your truth respectfully, completely, and hopefully not disputatiously. If you're going to come and share your truth in order to invite discussion into something that's different than wanting to cause a dispute. I keep using the word disputatious. I love the word disputatious. It's one of my favorite words. I was the kid in high school that took that etymology class because it was the big word class that helped you do better on SAT. The English language has always fascinated me. So if I start using larger than average words, y'all can call me right out on it. You should start a Discord server where people can call in. That's a great idea. That is a great idea. You know what? I actually do use Discord with my brothers right now. I have two younger brothers, one who is 6 years younger than me and one who is 16 years younger than me. And some of you guys have made me heard me mention David as being my inside man into high school counseling for 5 of the 10 years that I've been there. One of the things that that we do is every Sunday night at 6 o'clock, one's out in Pennsylvania and both of us are here. We get online and we talk to each other through Discord. We share each other's weeks and in 3 hours right now, I'm going to get online with my brothers and we're going to talk about our weeks and just stay close that way. So one of the things that I would like to encourage, like this Discord, is new ideas. If we can increase the advocacy, if we can spread it out a little bit more. If you guys want to start a Discord server that streams my mic drop and help facilitate that conversation, and then you are a representative that comes on to the mic drop and starts to share that stuff, do it. That would be great. I'll use as many people who are willing to help the truth be shared in its purest form. I will accept your help. I don't know in which ways I could use you yet, but I'm not going to turn away your desire because I understand the passion that burns inside you, and I'm going to want to support it as much as I can. Last thing I want to leave you with today, because we're getting close to the 27-minute mark, and thank you very much for a very successful first mic drop snippet, if you will. Again, all of this is kind of under, I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it still. So things can change, things can moderate a little bit. If this needs to be an hour each week and I do it every other day in order to facilitate better conversation, I'll do that too. So one of the last things I want to leave with you guys before I sign off for today is confirmation that what we are doing is helping and not hurting people. The only people who are going to get hurt in my advocacy are those who choose to embrace corruption and not leave it alone and grow away from it. Y'all may get hurt because your corruption is leading to people taking their lives, and I'm not going to stand for that. So here's a story, just going to share with you briefly. And this was reached out. This was just yesterday. Okay, so I want you guys to hear this. A teacher from a school system within Elkhart County, that's how I'll put it, reached out to me. And this is what they said. I am supporting you always. As a teacher that wanted to transfer to Northridge eventually, thank you for sharing your truth. Education, as hard as it is, let alone being belittled for your opinion. I'm supporting you and apologize for the loss of the middle school last spring. Sad to see the impact of the lack of support, but I stand with you. She said, as with this, though, and she had a question in there that I'll leave out because it's something I'm going to address with her privately and then ask if it's okay to bring on the mic drop because I respect people. They said, I thought about sending my children to Northridge, but this is ridiculous. And anonymous teacher, thank you so much for sharing that with me because that's all I want you to do. I want you to take what you hear on here and anything that's said at all, and I want you to make your own informed decisions on what's best for you personally, professionally, for your children, for your entire family. And if Middlebury Community Schools chooses to remain corrupt and ignore its corruption, then yeah, I'm going to hope that you take that information into consideration when you choose where to work and where you choose to send your children. So thank you for being courageous enough to share that with me. hopefully it sets the tone a little bit for the good that all of this is bringing when so many people want to kind of nay the say. But that's my time. Thank you very much for a successful one. I'm the Mike from the Mic Drop. Love you guys. We out.